Hey, friends, and welcome to the club. I'm glad you're here today for this episode of the Amazing Entrepreneurs Club with my special guest today, Matt Ward. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Great, Sid. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm really glad you're here and excited for you to share your insights. But before we jump in today, please tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Matt Ward. I am a professional speaker, a word of mouth referral consultant, and an expert lazy river rider.
Expert lazy river rider. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. What's your favorite lazy river, Matt?
The one that I'm eventually gonna put in my backyard. I have
Oh,
this dream, Sid, to build a lazy river in my backyard.
dude, that's such a great idea. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. You got to make sure you got some rapids going so it'll push you
Oh yeah.
around a little bit and a
Yeah, and there's
waterfall.
and then I bought a kegerator that's on wheels. So you can move
Nice.
it like right over to there so that people don't actually have to get out of the lazy river to refill their beer.
I like that. I think I'm coming to your house, Matt, for the summer. That sounds like a great place to hang out. All right. So let's get back to the show
Yeah.
here. We derailed there right
Yeah.
at the very beginning. So you're a speaker and then
Yes.
you help people network. Is that what you said?
Well, so I'm a referral consultant. So what I do
Okay.
is help people build better relationships to get more word of mouth referrals in their service-based business.
Okay, I like that
Yeah.
a lot. We all need referrals. It's a great way to get business. So, how do you go about doing that without giving away all the secrets? Like, how do you go about helping people get more referrals?
All right. So I will give away all the secrets, but just because I have no problem with it. But just know this, it doesn't happen overnight. So even though I give away the secrets today, the referrals aren't going to rain down from the sky tomorrow for all the people listening to the podcast. It's really, really simple. It's a four-pronged approach. But the bottom line is they all fall under one core tenant or component, and that is you need to care about other people. Most people have heard that people do business with who they know, like, and trust. But I believe that people do business with who they know, like, trust, and care about. And ultimately, it's the caring component that makes people refer because you can trust somebody, you can like them, but still not refer them. Right.
It's a great
And s-
point.
so ultimately, what gets you referrals is actually the caring, the initiation that you take toward others and the reciprocity effect that comes back from that. And that's what takes time. And so if you build a system of doing that in your business and in
Mhm.
your life, then people show up for you.
That is so powerful. And it's a really, really great point because we talk a lot about in the world of entrepreneurship and online marketing and things of that nature. We talk a lot about the know, like, and trust factor. We talk about it a lot in podcasting, but nobody's ever added the care part to it. So that's the four pillars, the know, the
Well,
like.
the four pillars fall under this idea of caring. And the
Okay.
four pillars are over delivery,
Okay.
listening, surprise, and non self serving acts. So over delivery is right, not under promise and over deliver. It's actually over
Right.
deliver.
Got it.
Listening is listening with your eyes and your ears, not just your ears. So paying attention to what people wear, what their backgrounds are, what's happening on Facebook. Surprise is, um, an unexpected gift at an unexpected time. And
Mm,
that can just be a note card. I'm a big, big, big fan of a note card,
yep.
right? Doesn't have to be big stuff. I mean, obviously, I'm happy when people mail me bacon. I love that. Yeah, my
That's
address
great.
is on my website, and people should put their address on their website if they want gifts to show up in the mail.
I love that.
But you get the point. And then non self serving acts are doing for others things that have no bearing or benefit on you. That's like literally just taking a friend to the airport.
Sure.
And why can't that also be a business friend?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, there doesn't have to be a trade off for everything. And I think
Oh, for
so
sure.
many times we think about that. And I really appreciate that you highlighted listening. I have said many times before, I think listening is the most underdeveloped skill in the human race. We don't listen enough. We listen to respond rather than listen to understand. And I think that's so very important. And the gift at an unexpected time. Show me somebody that doesn't enjoy getting a gift that is a surprise. It's like, oh, wow, that's really cool. They're so thoughtful. And that means not on your birthday, not on a work anniversary or your regular anniversary, whatever.
Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving,
Christmas, when we
Christmas.
all send the same cards to everybody and we all get inundated with them and they're not any different.
That's right.
How does that stand out? But yet, if you do a handwritten card,
Mhm.
you mail it to somebody, what's the first thing they do? They get the mail from the mailbox and then they find the one that's not the same size as all the bills. They
Right.
pull that one out, they open that up first, and they save it. They keep that card.
Can I tell you, I have a whole drawer full
You
of
just
them.
looked. You just looked right
I
over
did.
to the shelf,
I
didn't you?
like got a whole drawer full of them
Yeah,
over there.
we
Some
all
of
do.
them I actually have up because like there's this one that I got years ago, and I'll rip my cord out of my thing if I go grab it. But this guy that I had worked with sent me a note. It was actually a typed note, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But he sent me a note on his grandfather's stationery
Mm.
that he had limited supply of
Mm-hmm.
to thank me for helping him grow his business. I'm never letting that note go. Are you kidding me? It was
Right.
his grandfather's stationery from the 1950s with their original logo on. I mean, it's parchment paper. Yeah. I mean, and I will never forget actually
And you
doing
never
that.
forget and look at the story you tell.
Mhm.
And it doesn't always mean that means you're going to refer someone to him, but let's be very clear about one thing. All things being equal, you have an opportunity to refer someone to someone that he provides a service of, right?
Correct.
And
Yep.
you know two people that do that, him and option B. Who
Mhm.
are you going to refer?
I'm
You're
gonna
going to refer him because the
absolutely.
relationship and what he did for you and the memories of that and the memorable experiences. I just encourage people to continue to do things like this on a regular basis. Now, define regular, you know, some small things, it could be every month, every quarter, every year. Other
Sure.
things, it's every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But right, if marketing and advertising, Sid, is all about being TOMA, top of mind awareness, to be top of mind when somebody needs to choose your service,
Mhm.
why can't we achieve that by just caring about other people in ways that are so unique?
That is such a great question. That is such a great question because we don't do it enough.
Well, so that's how I got on this, right? It's
Yep.
so interesting how you said that. Back before I sold my agency I had a web design agency for 16 years and I sold it in 2018. In February 2018, I was in a speaker mastermind with some speaker friends. And I said, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about when I sell my business. And my friend Sonia Stetzler was in the group. She's from North Carolina. And she said, well, Matt, you said something about your web design agency getting everything by referral. How did that work? And I said, well, I did this, this, and this. And she says, well, when you say you did that, what do you mean? And I said, well, I just stayed in touch with people. I cared about them. She said, that's what you need to talk about. I said, are you telling me that people don't care about other people? She says, no, we just forget. I went, boom, that's it right there.
Right.
That's it right there. And I landed on it. And then I started writing the book. My first book came out in 2018 called More Word of Mouth Referrals. And that is what really launched me into this place. Before that, I was going to be like this business coach talking about the myth, working on your business, in your business, because I had done all that and I was good at it. But it's no different than any other business coach. And so then
Right.
I fell on this and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be the referral guy. And I love it. Most people don't have any idea when they first hear because it's not another financial advisor. It's not another insurance person. It's not another printer or a payroll company. And so they're like, wait, what's that? And so then I start talking about it. They're like, okay, I get all my business from referrals, but I don't really know how they're coming. I don't have a strategic plan. So that's the most craziest thing. When I speak, let's just say there's an audience of 100 people I'm speaking to, and I'll say, by a show of hands, raise your hand if the number one source of new business in your company is by referral. Everybody raises their hand.
Wow.
And then I say, now keep your hand up if you have a clearly defined marketing strategy for referrals. And everyone puts their hand up.
So you say all the hands go down, don't they?
Yeah, because because it's not sexy like social media or a website. And I
Sure.
was in that business. Like,
Right.
I get it, but I was in that business selling websites to people that came to me by word of mouth.
And it's really interesting because people don't really have strategies around it. And I actually never anything I've even thought about that you need to create a strategy around. And that's what I do. I help people create
Yep.
business strategies and growth strategies. So it's a really, really great point. So the book is called More Word of Mouth
Mouth
Referral.
referrals, lifelong customers, and raving fans.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the second book? Because you've written two books.
Yep, I
Congratulations, by
did.
the
And
way.
the second book came out in October of 2021. It's called The High Five Effect: How to Do Business with People Who Bring You Joy. And here's the thing about this book. What launched me into this book was, well, first of all, the idea, the last core message that I give, the closing component of my speech, is this idea that we should be able to walk around any business office or conference room or convention hall at a hotel and high five anybody. That's the type of people we should surround ourselves with. And so with that idea came out this book. Now here's the real crux of the problem. Said, I've always felt that people leave the corporate world and go into business ownership themselves because they want three things: more money, more time, and more freedom.
Mhm.
And they don't get any of those first three things in the first 5 years. Right?
I'm smiling and laughing because that's exactly why I left corporate
Yep.
America. And you're right, because the first 5 years of being an entrepreneur are really hard and an
Yeah.
amazing struggle. And you work more the
Oh,
first
for sure. Well, so it's a part-time job. You only work 12 hours out of the day.
it's a part-time job. I love that. So speaking of that entrepreneur, what made you want to be an entrepreneur, Matt? What was
I
that
got laid
drive?
off.
Ah,
So I was working as a software quality assurance analyst at a software company in Salem, New Hampshire, and we were doing desktop faxing and secure and encrypted email. And I'd literally watched 3 rounds of layoffs go out before me,
mm,
and then I got laid off. And I was the software tester. I wasn't the guy selling the software or creating it. I was the guy who found the bugs in it.
sure.
And so I got laid off, and I thought, well, this is a first, right? And so I started to kind of figure out what I was going to do. And I had this part-time thing I had started. I had done a couple websites for a Pop Warner program, Pop Warner football programs. And then ultimately I got picked up as a contractor for Lycos.com, the search engine. And while
Okay.
I was there, I started building out my business even more. And that was all through 2014. And then January 2015, I took the web design, not 15, 2005, I'm sorry.
Okay.
2005, I took the web design company full time and hired my first employee the next month. And then, like, a couple years later, moved out of the basement of my house and into a real office space and had a
Sure.
team and just started growing. And then I hit my stride. I found my rhythm, right? I won a bunch of awards. I got 40 under 40. I got Chamber Small Business Owner of the Year, top web firm out of Boston, 7 years in a row, Business Bureau Torch Award finalist.
Wow.
It was a lot of great successes, but one thing that I struggled with was the business had a chokehold on me.
Mm,
And like I said, I didn't go to college. I went to college. I didn't make it out of college. I went to community college
yep.
as a hotel restaurant major. And in my first semester there, I quit after that because I failed broccoli and cheese sauce class.
So wait, that's just awesome. I think you have a side hustle career as a comedian, by the way. I truly believe that.
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Somebody told me that actually earlier today. She said, if you're gonna be the stand-up comedian on the show. I said, don't I need to stand up to be the stand-up comedian? I mean, I've been perfect. I might do that one day. Sid, I've taken some classes on improv
Right.
because improv is imperative to be a speaker on stage.
Yeah.
You have to be able to roll with the punches from the crowd.
Sure.
And I learned early on, by the way, the best crowd to speak to is the one that's free and they meet every week. It's called Rotary.
Yep.
And because if you can make it through a Rotary session with a guy whose face is in his mashed potatoes because he's fallen asleep, then you can make it anywhere, my friend.
Oh, that's great. That's so good. That
Yeah.
is so good. See, you should be a comedian. All right. So you got laid off.
Yeah.
You went and did a contract job with someone. While you
Yeah.
were doing that, you started kind of building websites on the side.
Yeah.
And when that job ended, you just kind of said, "Hey, this
Well,
is not
actually, it got
something."
so busy. I said
Oh,
I'm not renewing the contract.
nice.
Yeah. I was like, peace out. See ya.
Yeah.
And
So,
that was Lycos.com. That's that search engine. They're like number 4 that they had the dog, the black lab, fetch it or
oh
whatever.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
Yeah, that was them.
So
Yeah.
you're an accidental entrepreneur.
Oh, for 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. We should make a movie like that with,
The
and Steve
accidental
Martin should
entrepreneur.
be the lead on that. Yeah.
He would do a good job playing you.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness. So Matt, that's a really great story, and I appreciate you sharing it. It's always great to hear about the journey of entrepreneurs that come on the show. But I want to jump in and ask you a few
Mhm.
questions. You ready?
Yeah. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So, um, what has been your biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
Um, biggest challenge. I mean, there's so many and so many different worlds. I think sales for me was my biggest challenge. It's mindset around sales
Mhm.
and the fact that I have to do sales activities and that I have to ask for the sale. Because asking for the referral is different than asking for the sale, right?
Right.
Um, and so it's taken me a long time to get my head around that. The way I've overcome it is I completely compartmentalize. I don't believe. In fact, I preach you should not ask for the referral because it sounds desperate. But
Sure.
asking for the sale does not sound desperate, provided you have qualified the individual that they in fact need your help. And then, as my friend Jason Cutter says, you have an obligation to help them. And it's that mindset
Sure.
that it took for me to get over that. So yeah, that was my biggest challenge.
So that's actually a really great example too, because a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with sales.
Mhm.
They maybe they didn't do sales in their corporate life. Maybe they were never in that role, even if you were in that role. And I spent my entire corporate career from the time I got out of college until the time I started my business. I was either in sales or sales leadership. But it's different selling a product or a service that somebody else makes versus selling a product or service that you make. It's completely different. And it's really hard. And I've watched a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with it. I've struggled with it. And I really appreciate the fact that how you got over that was changing your mindset and
Mhm.
putting it in compartments. So will you describe the compartments for me?
Sure.
Like generically describe them.
Well, no, Jason just kicked me. I had a conversation with Jason one day, and Jason's a
Oh,
sales coach, and he wrote a book about sales called Authentic Persuasion, Selling with Authentic Persuasion. And I had a conversation with him, and I said, "Well, I think probably I could help this guy." And he said, "Well," and we're very close friends, so we're
sure.
we're super close. He just said, "Well, I think you're an idiot." I said, "What?" He said, "Well, no, I mean, I think you're an idiot if you don't go to him and say that you can help him. You
Yep.
have an obligation." And then when I read Jason's book, it actually there's a statement in his book that says, provided you've done the right work, meaning you've asked the right questions and qualified the right
Yeah.
people, and you still understand that this person has a need and that in fact you can help them, then you have an obligation to do so.
Mhm.
And so to me, it was, I guess you would say that's a compartment over there. It's just like I just needed a push,
Yep.
right? And he gave me that push. And then from now on, ever since then, it's been that way. It's just if I can get to the point where I feel like I've qualified them enough, and in fact they need it, and in fact I can help them, then I
Sure.
ask.
And there's some really key points there. And I could talk about this for
Mhm.
quite some time. So many times I think when we're selling things, whether you're in the corporate world or you're an entrepreneur, we're don't truly understand the problems that our customers have. And the problem is what creates the need. So, but you got to ask the right questions to identify the problem. Or if I just come and pitch you, hey, Matt, come join my business strategy group course that I have, that I'm making this up,
Mhm.
but that happens
Mhm.
once a week for 12 weeks for X of thousands of dollars. That's great. That's me selling you a product, but I don't know anything about you. I don't know about the problems in your business. I don't know how that program helps you solve the problems in your business or helps you move your business forward. So You got to zone in on knowing who your customer is and what their problems are. So I really,
Mhm.
really appreciate you sharing
And
that.
also what's going to limit their ability. So
Mhm.
recently I had a conversation about somebody coaching, doing referral coaching with me, and I qualified them, sound like they had the money. They definitely had the need.
Yep.
And then I sensed something that was off. And I was like, hey, so let me just clarify one thing. I don't want you to even consider working with me if you don't have the time to make the changes. Do you have the time? That's the one thing I don't have, he says. I
Mhm.
said, then there's no point. I don't care how much you pay me.
Yep.
This is not going to work for you and it's not going to work for me. I'm going to be frustrated that you're not getting results. I'm going to feel like I'm taking your money and nothing's happening. And you're not even going to show up to our calls probably. And
Yep.
that's rude to me. So let's just wait. When you say you'll have some time in 6 months, then let's talk in 6 months.
Mhm. That's so important because if we don't have the time to do the work or implement things, then we're wasting our time as clients and your time as the business
Hmm.
owner or the coach in this case.
Hmm.
And nobody enjoys that. I mean, nobody enjoys that because it's a really bad, I've been in those situations and it's a really bad situation. You don't want to be there. They don't want to be there or they just don't show up. And there's nothing worse than blocking time on your calendar when you have a lot of one-on-one clients. You block time on your calendar for someone and they cancel
Hmm.
or they just don't show up and they don't tell you they're not showing up and then they do it the next week and they do it. It's a cycle. So really, really great points. So I appreciate you highlighting those. And, um, it's a journey to get better at sales. And as long as we continue to work at it each and every day to get better at it, crafting our pitch, telling our story, understanding our customers, it's a journey. But we have to
Small
do it
iterations,
first.
small
Yeah.
iterations make big changes long term.
One step at a time, my friend. All right. So, next question. What do you believe are three qualities of successful entrepreneurs?
So, well, clearly, I believe that successful entrepreneurs, one of the strongest qualities is the caring component, right?
Okay.
And that just doesn't happen in referrals. It happens in all forms and facets of business. I think that another strong one is the ability to make quick decisions. If you make a quick decision and you made the wrong one, you have time to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
If you make a decision that took you too long to make and you made the wrong one, you've run out of runway and you can't
Mm-hmm.
adjust. So always quick decisions as quickly as they can. And the final thing is this idea of giving back. How do you give back? Sometimes it's with your time, sometimes it's with your money, sometimes it's with your expertise and you volunteer on nonprofit boards and things like that. Sometimes you're going to go out and clean up the local area. You might sponsor the local median strip in the town to put
Mm-hmm.
flowers in or bushes or whatever. I think giving back is a core component. And I learned that from the chocolate magnate Milton Hershey himself. You got to give back.
It is really important to be able to give back, remember where you came from, give back to the community, give back to the people that helped you. I mean, I believe that actually a podcast is a form of giving back,
Yeah, absolutely.
sharing insights and sharing information for free to people and telling people about it. Like give
Mhm.
it all away, tell people about it. It's a way of giving back. The quick decisions. Oh my gosh, I could not agree with you more, Matt. Listen, I've struggled with it, like over analyzing this and da 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 da. But when I was in corporate America, I worked for a company for 10 years that um, you didn't ask for permission, you asked for forgiveness.
Mhm.
And so you can make the decision, make quick decisions. And then as long as you could justify and write a business case around it, it was no big deal. But when I became an entrepreneur, I'm responsible for the decisions. So my thought process around asking for permission, well, I'm the one that have to ask permission from me is me. So I slowed down my decision making process, which is totally crazy. But I slowed it down and I will fully admit I got caught in a trap of over analyzing
Mhm.
and moving too slow. So I don't move too fast now, but I am a lot quicker to make decisions. And there's just something intuitively, whether it's a good or bad choice. And, there's just something there that I think helps to guide you. So
The
I really,
overanalysis drives me crazy. Done is better than perfect.
amen, brother. Yes. Amen. So I heard that. Like the first year of my entrepreneur journey, I
Yeah.
had somebody tell me that. I was working at a little co-working space and somebody said that to me, and no lie, Matt, I wrote it on my marker board on the wall in big letters and circled it because I'd never heard that before. And that's like I was caught in the trap of over analyzing everything and overthinking everything, and done is a lot better than perfect.
Mhm.
And caring, to me, that's a no-brainer. But I know
Mhm.
there are a lot of people that don't. They just kind of, let's say, they fake it, right? They don't really care about other people. And I had somebody tell me recently, um, if you call me and if you call me and ask me a question, I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna help you.
Mhm.
You're
Mhm.
calling me because you got laid off,
Mhm.
maybe because what you're calling me, I'm going to help you. If I'm available, I'm going to help you. And if I'm not, I'm going to call you back or I'm going to text you and I'm going to help you. But I had somebody tell
Mhm.
me I needed to stop that and I needed to start charging for that.
Mm-mm. Mm.
And I actually said, that's exactly what I said. No, I'm not going to do that because it's in my nature. It's part of my being to help people. And to me, that's a form of caring. So if somebody calls me, like I had a lady that I don't know last week called me. She got laid off. She was given my phone number. She left me a message. I called her back a few days later. She told me her whole story about getting laid off. I gave her some insights about what I thought she should do. I sent her a list of recruiters that I thought would be really beneficial for her to talk to, and then invited her to call me if I could help her with something else. That's just part of who I am. That's caring. That's just me being,
So many of the speaking events I do online, podcasts, and things, they're all free.
yeah,
I give away my content for free. I have downloads, stuff for free.
yep,
I have always believed, even when I had the design agency, we went and did biz dev speaking. We go to all the chambers and we speak about email marketing and stuff. We'd show people how to do it, and then they realize they don't have the time, so then they'd hire us.
hmm, it comes
And
back to you. There's no doubt.
oh, 100%. And by the way, you don't need all those clients anyway.
Mm-mm,
Just
mm-mm.
need a few.
Yeah, you just need a few. That's right. That's a misconception that I think entrepreneurs get caught into a trap that you have to have thousands and thousands of clients and you don't. So great points, Matt.
Mhm.
I think you and I could like have a conversation all day long about some of these things, which is really great. But I got one more question for you. Ready?
Yeah, I have a question for you. Are we going to do the Sid and Matt podcast? This will be fun.
Oh, it could be fun. Yes. Nobody would get a word in edgewise.
I know, right? Okay, what's your
All right.
question?
Third question. What's the most unexpected idea that you've had and how did it impact your company?
Well, we had look. Well, I'll bear it all. Right? We had an unexpected idea. The company, the design agency that I had at the time was called In Concert Web Solutions, and we had an idea, and we created a product called Crescendo. Crescendo was this idea of amplification, right?
Yeah.
And so we created this blog posting service where we would create these blogs, and there was um, customized content that would fill in as variables. It was a really cool product, and we were going to sell it to real estate people,
Mhm.
realtors. And we went and did market research, and they were like, "Yep, $99 a month, no brainer, no brainer." We came to market at $29 a month, even less. We didn't sell one license to it,
Really?
not one. And we just fell flat on our face. And I realize now why we failed, but we put a lot of time, money, and effort into this software product. And it still sits on the shelf. The technology was good.
Hmm.
The market was wrong. We were selling to the wrong market. Realtors get sold to a lot.
Yeah.
And they and 95% of realtors aren't full-time realtors. They're part-time realtors.
Yep.
So they don't have the funds to keep funneling into all these different services. At the time I didn't quite realize that. Um and so yeah, that was our that was our big failure point. And I think what it taught us was you got to, even though we did our market research, we didn't do enough of it.
Hmm.
I didn't think we had the proper sample size.
Sure.
We probably talked to 4 or 5 people that we knew, and I think they told us what we wanted to hear.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
so, right?
Yeah.
Not so much, well, right? Because I thought that they would buy it, and they didn't even buy it.
Sure. Yeah. You go to your friends who think they're going to tell you the real truth, but they actually tell you what they think you want to hear and not the real truth. But I appreciate the fact that you highlighted an unexpected idea that something that did not work out,
Hmm.
but you add to it what you learned from it. And I think that's even more important. We're going to make mistakes as entrepreneurs, as business owners, business leaders. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. And that's okay. That's part of being human being. That's part of our journey. But what's important is that we learn from those mistakes. And one of your biggest takeaway was right product, wrong market, wrong audience. So whenever you get ready to launch it again, if you ever decide to, you need to get a bigger sample size and you need a different audience to sell the product to.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good advice there. All right. I want to move on to the next section. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Please provide 3 tips from your experience that will help other entrepreneurs along their journey.
Well, let me just give you one just very simple one that I think most people don't do enough of, and that's be still. We need to sit with ourselves and have quiet time to reflect on the journey that we've done so far and why we're constantly pushing for the next level. And do we really need to push for the next level, or can we just slow down a little bit? And so be still is a core tenet, I think, and it's something I've been embracing a lot of lately, and it's helped a lot.
That is one of the best tips I've ever heard. That take a moment, 30 minutes, breathe, sit. Maybe if you want to play a little bit of meditation music in the background, if you got the Calm app, put that on. Maybe you get a cup of tea. But you're right. We're busy. We're always pushing. We're always going. We're always reaching for the next level, trying to make the next dollar and the next profit, make sure we're paying all of our people. And we forget to just stop and reflect on what we've been doing or what we've done. And maybe that reflection and sitting still, as you said, could actually lead us to the next place if we just paid attention and listened. That's really great. Best tip I've heard so far.
Thanks. Do you need the other 2?
No, that one is so good. I'm like, let's just stop right there. I don't know. You can talk.
It works for me.
All right. So Matt, you ready to have a little bit of fun?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the last part of the show is I like to have a little bit of fun with my guests. So I have a deck of cards and I've been shuffling them behind the scenes. And so they're in random order. Okay. And these cards all have questions on them. And the whole purpose of this is to give us the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, maybe a little differently than the random questions that I ask you. So pick a number from 1 to 10, and I'm going to count the card out.
7.
Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Number 7. Have you ever been kicked out of anything? And if so, what and why? That's a good question.
Okay. I can't think of any place or thing. I've never been kicked out of a car or a house or a concert or never.
Okay.
I've never been. That's no fun. Yeah. Yeah. Number 8. I picked number 8. Go number 8.
Okay, number 8's on the top of the text. So, I don't like that one. I asked that one before. Okay, this is a good one. What's the most creative excuse that you've used to get out of something that you just didn't want to do? You can't use my dog ate the homework either.
No. Oh man. What's the most creative excuse I use to get out of doing something? Honestly, I think one time I forgot my laptop at the house.
Did you really?
And I had it in my backpack in the back seat of the car because I just didn't want to do the call. Thank goodness it wasn't a client, right? It was just a networking call with somebody who was, and previous networking calls hadn't gone well. And so it's just like, oh, I forgot my laptop. I can't.
We all have those, right? We all have those. I've got a few good ones that I can share with you. All right, pick another number from 1 to 10.
Okay. Let's go with 3.
1, 2, 3. What is the main quality that you think makes a great parent?
Oh.
These are tough questions, Matt.
Well, this is super personal to me.
You don't have to answer it if you don't want
I
to.
guess presence and love, and love is interpreted so many different ways, right?
Mhm.
So I
Absolutely.
come from a broken home and in a poverty-stricken home, to the point where when I was 10 years old, I entered a private tuition-free boarding school for disadvantaged kids.
Mm.
And that school was funded by the guy that created the chocolate bar, Milton Hershey,
Yep.
because he and his wife couldn't have kids. So it's called the Milton Hershey School. It's in Hershey, Pennsylvania. There's 2,500 kids that go there. If you graduate now, you get up to $90,000 to go to college. It's
Wow.
for disadvantaged kids. It was really originally started for orphans. Uh, and my parents were divorced at an early age. So yeah. So that's changed my life, that school did.
Well, presence and love, I think, are two very important and very, very important ones. And actually, presence is something that can be used across people that we work with, the people that we communicate with, and not just with our families. It can be with the people that we work with. It could be people that we're talking to on the phone, it's just people we're doing Zooms with. I mean, there's such a power to actually being present, and it's really, really important. So I'm going to
Well,
ask
and
you.
and and just to add on to
Yeah.
that, when I was growing up, we didn't have the challenge that you have right now as being a parent, which is the cell phone.
Yeah.
I have seen it. I'm guilty of it. I've seen it. I recently, in September of 2021, I went on a 4-day adventure on an ATV to the Grand Canyon,
Nice.
where when we got to the place to get our ATVs, they took our phones. It was a digital detox for 4 days. And the idea was that they wanted sort of time to stand still and you just wouldn't be. And it changed everything for me. I now look at my phone less now as I'm getting further away from that trip, I'm looking at it more, I can tell.
Sure.
But I didn't need it because I had pre-planned. And so question you ask yourself now is, why don't I pre-plan when I go to dinner? Why are we not pre-planning? Why when I sit with a friend does my friend say, hey, just a heads up, if my boss calls, I got to answer the phone? And that's like a standard with a friend of mine. It's constant. Like that chirp, that ringtone from the boss, immediate jump,
Mhm.
or a family member or kids or whatever. So anyway, I think the phone needs to come back. Okay.
No, listen, dude, I totally agree with you on that, because it gives me visions of, we go out to dinner. My daughter's off at college, but we go out to dinner and they're all like head down. They're looking at
Mm-hmm.
their phone. I'm like, what the heck? Let's have a family dinner. So we're kind of got this rule that they go into the center of the table while we eat and
Yeah.
come down, because
Do you play the game? Whoever touches it first has to pay the bill.
Okay, yeah, no, we don't play that game, but I'm going to start playing that game. But here's the deal: mom and dad are paying the bill regardless. So even if I lost it,
Eh,
I'm still paying the bill. If my son
yeah.
won, if my son lost the bet, he's mom and dad are still paying the bill. So it doesn't work that way. But listen, Matt, I was actually one of those people that if my boss called, I had to take the call
Yeah.
and step away, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good place to be, and that not for the employee. And we could have a whole leadership
Not for
conversation
the
about.
family, not for the employee, not for the boss. The
Mm-mm.
boundaries have to be set. And, you know, it just has to, it's just about open communication.
There's very few things in business, very, very few things in business that are truly life or death,
Yeah.
that truly cause the need at 10 o'clock at night to call an employee at home on their home time and their off time, that can't wait till 8 o'clock the next morning. There are very, very few things.
Even 6:30 at night.
Yeah, so true.
Right.
So true. All right, I got one last question. I picked
Okay.
this one intentionally because it's going to be a little more fun. What are most people afraid of that don't scare you?
So apparently, um, the most common fear amongst people is public speaking.
Ah,
Now, it's not the number one fear. That's a misquoted quoted study. It's actually the most common amongst everybody is public speaking, and that it does not. It I'm not saying I don't get butterflies. I do, but
sure.
I'm not afraid of it.
Mhm.
Um,
Were you ever afraid of it at one time? Maybe when you first started, did it like
I,
scare
I,
you?
th- I think so, but that was coming from a place of selfishness. So
Mm,
that came from a place of acceptance
yeah,
and approval, need for approval.
sure.
And once you shed this idea of need for approval, which I had worked through, it took me months to work through that. Once I shed that, then I realized it's all good. The way I see it now is if somebody gets up, I used to think if somebody got up in the middle of my speech from the audience, I used to literally say in my head, "What are you doing? This is great content." You know what I say now?
No, what do you, I would think
Geez,
exactly the same thing. What are you doing? This is
he or
great
she is
content.
one of those people that has to jump when their boss calls. Right? Because that's
That's
what's
great.
happening.
Boss
Because it's
call.
like I want to be here, but my boss just texted me, let me go take it, or my kid
That
or whatever. Yeah.
that is a great reframe right there. That is a great mindset shift. So Matt, we're going to drop the links to both of your books in the show notes for our listeners. If our listeners would like to get in touch with you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah. So usually I just look up in the sky. If you shine the bat signal up there, I will call the bat phone.
Oh,
No,
that's great.
it's mattwardspeaks.com is the best place to get a hold of me. And I am Matt Ward Speaks on every channel out there that probably exists, I think. I don't know.
For today.
Well,
For
and I
today.
think on Clubhouse, I'm actually a referral guy, but I don't get on Clubhouse as much as I should. I really need to get in there more.
Well, that's where we met. So we'll be sure to drop your
That's
link
right.
there as well as all of your other social platforms. Remember, if you do reach out to Matt, please let him know you heard him here on the Amazing Entrepreneurs Club. So he knows how you're how you're getting to him. Matt, thank you so much for being here today, for sharing your insights and all this amazing advice and information to our community, man. I really appreciate you.
Sid, I appreciate you. And as I always like to say at the end of every talk and every video I do on YouTube, don't forget to live happy, smile a lot, and high five everyone around you.
And that is great. And we will wrap it up with that. Thanks, everyone. Go out and make today great. And we'll see you again next week.